Story of Success is a detailed novel that explains just how certain people become successful and why others are not. It explains the reasons why people are successful and does this by giving detailed examples from the real world.
It's Alex Engel here reporting for duty on why people are successful. The first reason, opportunities they are presented with. Let's look at Canadians' Junior National Hockey League to see just why certain opportunities give certain people success.
2 Canadian Junior Hockey League players that are featured in our documentary. Nick, tell me what team you're on and a little bit about yourself.
I'm on the elite team, and I was born on January 2nd.
What about you, Caden?
I'm in the Fair Positive Hockey League, and I was born on December 23rd.
Here's another example of how opportunity led to great success. Ever wonder why the Beatles became so successful in the music industry? Let's hear from Ringo Starr and John Lennon themselves to see just how success came to be. Ringo.
So, we got to play 8 hours a day in strip clubs in Hamburg, Germany, and that was our very earliest opportunity. Pretty good opportunity if I must say so myself.
This constant playing every day allowed us to perfect our skills and become the band we are today.
So far in our success documentary, we have seen many people become successful because of the opportunities they were given and the people that they are around. However, this is not always the case. Meet Chris Langan.
I have an IQ of 600. I know everything from quantum physics to coding and programming, but I was never able to surround myself with the right people and never gave myself the opportunity to find myself success. I live on a farm in Iowa with my wife. All I do in my free time is code and watch the sunset and the sunrise.
As we've seen that these successful people have had great opportunities and advantages. However, these might not be that clear at first. For example, Joe Flom.
I'm Joe Flom. I'm a Jewish lawyer. I was born during the Great Depression, a time when there was few children, which this allowed me to have a better education because my classes were smaller. And when I started my professional career, I went to major law firms as a lawyer and applied, but they did not accept me because I was Jewish. And so this caused me to have to start my own law firm. And I couldn't get any of the major cases, which paid a lot, but instead I did smaller cases such as divorces and other family matters. And over time, these cases became more prominent, and the bigger companies didn't know how to handle them, so this allowed my smaller law firm to prosper because I could handle the more common cases of family matters.
So far in Outliers, the story of success, we have seen many people become successful because of the opportunities, advantages, and people that they've been around. However, this is not the only way that people can be successful and unsuccessful. We have to take a closer look at cultural legacies to really see where success also comes from. Let's look at Korean Air.
Korean Air, Flight 801. Caden is the captain, Alex is the first officer.
Man, it's been a long day. I'm tired.
Of course.
Aren't you?
Yes, sir.
Weather looks a little rainy outside.
It's raining very hard.
Nah, you're just making that up.
I think we should use some other radar.
No, I got it. Just stay in the back.
Sir?
Hi.
I think we're gonna crash.
No, we're good. We'll make it.
But we can't see the landing.
Vertical distance, 50 feet.
Oh.
Vertical distance, 40 feet.
We're
30
gonna crash.
feet.
Mayday,
20
mayday,
feet.
990.
10 feet.
Hello?
0
Anyone?
feet.
Emergency landing. Ah!
And crash, we saw just how unsuccessful it was. This was because Alex, the first officer who was below Caden, the commander and the captain, she was unable to talk up to the person above her in rank, and that she was unable to take control of the situation and actually help them, save them from crashing. If she was able to take control of the plane's landing and of the plane, she would have been able to possibly save everyone's life. However, because of the Korean culture legacy that has been in place, her legacy and her culture taught her that she was not able to speak up to someone above her. This was a terrible problem that Korean Air faced many of times. However, soon people realized that something needed to be done to prevent the situation from happening again. This is why a program was implemented for the Korean Air to help teach their employees that it is okay to speak up to their people above them in rank. It is okay to speak up to people that they talk on through the radio in order to prevent crashes and to keep them from landing safely. Korean Air went from being one of the worst airlines into the world to one of the best, and this was because they took their culture legacy seriously and made them successful. So far in Outliers, the story of success, we have seen many examples of how success has come to be. One of these reasons that success has come to be is because of cultural legacies, which was seen in Korean air flight. This cultural legacy phenomenon can also be seen in this example that we have now. This is of two children. One speaks Cantonese as its first language, Caden, in the red. The other one, Nick, in the blue, is a child who speaks English as the first language. They are both really trying hard to learn how to count fast.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Caden, Caden, are you having trouble learning how to count? What about you, Nick? Are you having trouble? I can see. The example that was just shown in the book was obviously a very great one. It described two children both learning how to count, one in Cantonese and one in English. It was very apparent that the one speaking English was having a whole lot more trouble than the one that was speaking in Cantonese. This is because of cultural legacies. First of all, the reason why Caden, the one speaking Cantonese, had such an easy job learning how to count, and learning how to count pretty fast, I must say, was because his language and his numerical system is much easier to learn than the one in English. This is because of the way it is pronounced. Ki, si, son, so much easier to learn, and it is so much more straightforward in their language than it is in the American one, because the American numerical system can get very confusing. Another reason why some people from China are able to learn how to count and do math really fast and easily and be successful in it is because of the way that their ancestors lived. And they lived in rice paddies. They lived because they had rice paddy farms to survive on. This rice paddy work was very serious and specialized work that took a lot of skill and brain power. Unlike some people in America who just had to farm using plows and rows of corn, the Asian people had to really think how that they were going to plant their growing season and how to plant their crops so that it would not be ruined. All right, we are here today in our TED Talk. Me, I'm Alex.
I'm Caden.
I'm Nick.
And we are here to discuss the wonderful, the great book of The Outliers, Story of Success. As seen in the documentary before, it just showed a great detailed overview of what was in the book. It described how people became successful and the reasons why they were successful. It was shown through great examples that were actually truly featured in the book and that happened in the real world. Now, let's take some time to really go into depth of what Gladwell, the author's argument was in the book.
In Outliers, the story of success, Gladwell makes the claim that success is not just based off of personality and intelligence. Rather, success is the accumulation of advantages, opportunities, cultural legacy, and the people that one surrounds one with.
Gladwell makes the claim that in order to be successful, one only needs a chance. Alright, throughout the book of Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell uses many real-life examples, which help prove to validate his points. A prime example of this is when he used the Canadian Youth Hockey League. So, the children that were born in January had 12 months of development and maturity over the kids that were born in December. Over the years, that maturity and development would add up and accumulate. And so, having that experience would allow them to make the better team, aka the elite team, like Nick did. And so, being on the elite team, he had more practice, better opportunities. He was seen by more coaches, so he was going to be the one to make the big leagues.
In Malcolm Gladwell's novel, he presents that success is based on outside influences that people encounter, and that success is not just based on a personality or an individual themselves. As many people in the world believe that success just comes from the individual, like, oh my gosh, that person is brilliantly smart, Or, oh my gosh, that person came up with an absolutely brilliant idea. I could never come up with that or do that kind of thing. However, that is definitely not always the case. That the personality and the IQ and the brains does not always lead to success.
For example, with Chris Langan, he was a programmer with a very high IQ and was very intelligent. However, due to unfortunate circumstances, he had to drop out of college. This dropping out of college severely limited his potential success because he never had the opportunities most people had in the programming world. All scholars refused to look at his work because he had no higher level of education, and this severely limited him. All of his work went unseen and unnoticed, despite how scholarly and how intelligent it was.
Yikes.
Alright, so throughout the book of Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell proves his argument through 3 different ways: statistical data, expert testimonies, and real-life examples. These 3 different ways help him prove his credibility and create a connection with a reader in which they are able to understand everything he is saying and create a connection between the real world and his book. These 3 ways are very effective because it helps really draw in the reader and help keep them interested in the different ways. And he also uses different examples from different parts of the world, ranging from hockey to the Beatles to Bill Gates. Pretty effective. Okay, so as my viewpoint and our viewpoint of an outlier at first was really someone who was super successful, who really stood out in the community, in the world, because of how intelligent they were, how much money they had. But Malcolm Gladwell helps prove to the reader and helps show the reader that an outlier really isn't an outlier because of what they do or what they know, but it's really the opportunities that they're surrounded with and the effectiveness of the opportunities and how they take advantage of them. So, in conclusion, an outlier is not an outlier.
Okay. As a group, we agree with Gladwell because his argument is very clear, effective, and well thought out. Also, we as a group fully believe that a person's outside influences play a huge role in their life and help shape who they become and how successful they are.
If we were to make an argument over the book, we would say that outside influences play a big role in success, but we would also say that a person's intelligence and personality and the way that they carry themselves plays an equal role to the outside influences. Thus, our argument would be that success relies on a person's personality, intelligence, and the outside factors that influence their life. We hope that we were successful in this TED Talk.